Have you ever noticed how much effort it takes to do anything in the United States?
After living in Germany for over a decade, whenever we go back,
we realize we don't view the USA the same as we once did.
even mundane things like buying some food require more planning, effort, and time than you might think. Here in Berlin, say I need just some bananas. I don't need to wait until the next time I do a big shop. Chances are you don't live more than a 5-minute walk from your nearest grocery store. Done. There's no 10 minutes in the parking lot. There's no sitting in traffic. And I get my steps in. But it's not just about driving. It's about how we feel when we're around Americans, something that was once part of our every day. With the emotional distance of being in Europe for 13 years, we're asking ourselves,
how have our feelings about the United States changed?
Whenever I land back in the United States and I get off the plane, there's this overwhelming feeling that I always have of, familiarity, but also unfamiliarity, a bit of dread, excitement. And I think that anyone who's ever lived abroad and visits their home country can totally relate.
Every time I come to the USA, the first thing you're hit with is this feeling of kind of friendship.
Yeah. Yes.
And the moment you talk to that border guard, instead of just going through your paper and just be on your way, he literally says, "Welcome home. Hey, how you doing? How was your trip? How's it going?"
In Germany, that's kind of say, and they move you along. They look at your documents, they say, "Get out of my face." So I feel like in the States, it's more personal, whether that be a positive or negative, but at least it's a little more personal.
It's not something you get in Germany. How I see the USA in that respect is you feel like you're part of a community. You're probably saying, oh, politically, that's not the case in the US anymore. But I'm not talking about politically. Because, when you bump into a guy in the street and you're talking to him, you don't know who he voted for or why. That doesn't matter at that point.
Whether it feels fake or real, that is something that I do 100% experience when I'm in the States.
I'm sure all Europeans don't want to hear any more about the American friendliness, because I know a lot of Europeans, they look at it as if it's fake. They're not actually your friend. How could they be your friend so quickly?
When I first moved from the US to Germany, I really thought the first thing was like, I gotta get this language down. I gotta learn German.
Same, it's really awkward being at parties, trying to meet people, but you don't know what anyone is saying, so you just end up standing in the corner talking with the other people that don't know German.
We've all been there. One thing that I think we both learned was when we first came here to watch shows that we knew, like Seinfeld, How Much Your Mother, whatever, Friends, and put German subtitles on to try to learn, a few words here and there.
Yeah, the problem was the subtitles weren't always accurate, and also it's kind of up to us to learn the pronunciation and actually remember anything.
Luckily, now there's a way better way to do this with something called Lingopie.
As you're watching a movie or TV show, you have complete and accurate subtitles. For example, in German, or we can even see both English and German at the same time. Click any word to learn more. You can hear pronunciation and even save the word so you can review it later or make flashcards or a quiz.
And on top of that, you can also have a complete transcript of text while you watch. You want to go back because you missed something? We simply click on the word and boom, we're back to that part of the film. If things get too fast, we can change the speed.
And it's not some tiny selection of films and shows. You can learn German
or 8 other languages
while watching The Mandalorian, Dark.
Fun fact, Geoff actually worked on season 2.
Or even scratch your Marvel itch. Simply connect your Netflix or Disney Plus account with the available Lingopie extension.
Lingopie also has a massive collection of foreign content, so you can see what real Germans are actually watching.
With Lingopie, we're both able to relax at home and turn any movie or episode into a language learning lesson. Try Lingopie for free now, and if you decide to stick around, they'll even give you a 55% discount.
Click the link in the description below to try Lingopie for more than half off. When I first moved to Berlin, I wanted to meet people, so I decided to go to a bar. I went around 6 p.m., went home at 12. I went to like 6, 7 different bars, and I came home that night meeting nobody. That is not a great feeling, especially when you're young. You're trying to find yourself in a new city, in a new country. And after only a week, I really thought, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna have this grand old time, just like I can do in the States. But I went home feeling fairly lonely for my first week.
I have a positive outlook for the people. Forget the politics, forget all that. I have that outlook for the people, and that is what makes me smile, is walking around, having people who aren't afraid to talk to the person standing next to them or to come up and, you're out there, you're filming a YouTube video on the street to walk up, hey, what are you doing? Can I watch? This is so interesting. Whereas in Germany, people tend to stay away from each other and, try to, and kind of eye people passive aggressively from afar instead of going up, hey, what are you doing? What are you you up to? This is interesting.
Whenever I go out with my friends, always in the back of my head, you think, I'm able to meet someone cool tonight, even if it's an hour or 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I have a cool conversation with a stranger, and that's kind of the spice of life, is meeting new people and hearing their stories. And you don't get a lot of that living here in Berlin.
My wife even says that when I'm visiting the US, I'm kind of a different person, but in a way, she says I'm about like 10% more outgoing and 10% more friendly.
My personality can change whether I'm in the United States or in Germany. Not what I mean who I am as a core human, but even how I interact with other people. In Germany, I'm also very comfortable here, of course. It's been a long time. My German's not perfect, and I don't know all the nuances of the language, of the culture, and that's what I'm learning. That's why it is so fun to live abroad. I'm myself, but a little bit dumber when I'm here in Germany, which is also okay because I'm a really smart guy.
Not being afraid to talk to somebody next to you, to engage with people about random things. When I pick up that vibe, I start being that way. And so when I'm in Germany, I'm in Europe, I'm a little bit more reserved than I am in the US.
So now when I visit the US, I really appreciate that warmth, that warm blanket that kind of cuddles around me that I'm used to, that familiarity that I just don't get here. One of the biggest things you look forward to as an American is your 16th birthday. You get your real driver's license, which is like the most exciting thing.
You get your freedom.
You love your first car, whether it's a 1992 Corolla,
95 Ford Escort.
Or 95 Ford Escort.
Yeah.
So the car becomes a big extension of you as a human.
In general, you need the car to go everywhere. To go to the doctor's office, to go to school, to go to work, to go buy AA batteries. It's a whole process. You gotta buy something, let's get in the car, check the mirror, do the whole thing, drive half an hour, now you're at shopping. Unless you live in the few exceptions like Chicago, New York, or maybe Portland.
Boston, maybe.
Yeah, but those are not the rule, those are exceptions to the rule.
Living here, that all kind of changed.
You get used to public transportation, you get used to the train, the tram, the subway, the S-Bahn. Within a stone's throw of your house and your destination, there is some form of a train that is gonna get you there. This takes a lot of stress off of you because there's so less to think about, and someone else is taking care of it for you. You can sit back, read your book, and all you have to do is just get off at the right stop. Now, when I go back to the US, I hate cars. You forget how tied down you are because of the car, and it affects you in many ways because your stress levels go up because planning is now huge in terms of doing anything. Like you're gonna go out with your friends to a bar.
Let's go to this bar, let's go to this restaurant. Where are we? Where are we gonna meet? Who's driving? Who makes sure they have a DD, a designated driver, so they get home safe? And it just adds a lot of stress to my life every time I'm in the States, having to worry about other people and then having to worry about how I get home or how much money I have to spend on Uber. And it just becomes just a mountain of logistics.
We do have Uber, we have Lyft, we have, with an app, you can call a car to come pick you up. But if it's 2 a.m. and it's surging, whatever they call it, suddenly you're paying $50 to drive 20 minutes. Now, how can you afford to keep doing this? Or you get worried, are you not affording it, so you're getting home other ways, which are not healthy for you or for anyone else.
Exactly, you meet a lot of Germans, and Germans take drinking and driving incredibly seriously. Driving, they'll maybe one beer at the very beginning and make sure to wait 2-3 hours before they start driving again, before they get into a car. Or they'll say, you know what, I'm driving, I'm not drinking at all today. And I don't see that same culture when I'm in the States at all. But like Alex, Geoff, we need to drive in America. Of course, we don't have good public transport. We don't have these things. And of course, I get that, I live that. The States was built around the car in the suburbs. And you have these, shopping areas and living areas, and you can't have them together.
I feel more and more as I'm in the US, how disjointed it is, how separate everything is. Whereas in Europe, you have shopping and you have residential combined. I mean, you have the stores just as the ground floor of the apartment buildings. You have apartments above, and it creates much more of a sense of community. The moment I walk out my front door, there's life. Because everybody's around, they're going to cafes, they're going shopping.
So every time in the States, I get extremely frustrated where I have to just pick up one little thing. This turns into a 20 or 30 minute round trip of getting in the car, getting out of the neighborhood, driving down one of these big roads. I think if you live in the United States, you know what I'm talking about. I think every small town or town has this.
It's a long road, and on either side, you have about 100 meters of just parking lot. And then eventually, way in the distance, you have a long row of stores, strip malls.
no walkability, no way to just pick up what I need to from home by walking there and coming back.
I just want people to know, especially in the US, I know these aren't your fault. This urban plan was set up long before most of you were born. It has nothing to do with you. This was back when it was decided that cars and the highways are now going to be the way we do things. So you all got stuck with it.
You could fix these problems with a tram, with a little subway, even in small areas. It could happen. And I personally want to live my life in the easiest way possible. Living in a city where I don't need a car, I can walk places, I kind of have that.
One thing I'm completely used to living in Germany, living in Europe, is walking everywhere, being out in the fresh air, being able to just go from A to B in a few minutes by a walk, you know, and just feeling healthy, being out and about. And that's something that hits you with all the driving in the USA, is walking is hard. Now, my mom loves a good walk, and she does several outdoor walks every day. You can find paths and, you know, figure it out, but a lot of times in the US, going from your house to where the stores are, walking is kind of impossible or extremely dangerous. Because they're about this wide, and at random points they just end in the middle of nowhere, and you're kind of stuck because, again, they didn't expect anyone to actually use the sidewalk, because why would you? If you were a cool, normal American, you'd be in your car.
And it just makes things easier. I don't have to plan as much, and life is just easy.
At the end of the day, we've learned that after living abroad for so long, it's okay to have a complicated relationship with your home and your new chosen home.
Exactly. Life's not good or bad, black and white. It's a spectrum. It's a million shades of gray. And everyone with that, please stay safe, stay healthy, and of course,
stay thirsty.
That's it. Be proud about something that, you know, you had nothing to do with. I didn't choose to be born where I was born. It just happened to be luck of the draw.